That's a good story.
This meeting is called to order. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to ask you to now please stand, and we do the Pledge of Allegiance as led by Lieutenant General Keith Huber. General?
I pledge allegiance.
Call to order. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to ask you
kinda
to now
eerie.
please stand. and we do
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
No wonder you had a double there.
She's bad enough with him one time.
Yeah.
Without his echoing.
We've asked General Huber to carry on a tradition we've started in our first 6 meetings, and we'd like to recognize a veteran. And General Huber, the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, President McPhee, board members, ladies and gentlemen. I have the privilege today of presenting to you Emily Steinway. In 2010, she earned her Bachelor of Arts in Elementary Education from Aurora University in Illinois and began a teaching profession. In 2012, she decided to enlist in the United States Navy, and she remained in our faithful service in uniform for 4 years until 2016. During those 4 years of service, she had 9 overseas deployments to the Philippines, Thailand, Malaysia, to Singapore, Oman, Bahrain, Abu Dhabi, Japan, and Spain. She conducted these overseas deployments on a ship and ships that were referred to as submarine tenders because her skill set is she is an interior communications electrician. This means that she entered the confined and highly classified space of our submarine force to ensure that their communication systems worked and their electronic systems were functioning. She also served as the orientation director for all newly arriving sailors. In 2016, she joined the family here at Middle Tennessee State University and became an academic advisor within the Charlie and Hazel Daniels Veterans and Military Family Centers, and providing that orientation to the newly arrived student veterans. She now serves as the transition manager for the Daniels Center. So every newly arrived student veteran comes in, she gives them the reality of their benefits, access to their benefits, and more importantly, asks them, what are you going to do with this incredible academic accomplishment that we know that you will make? Ladies and gentlemen, U.S. Navy Petty Officer, 2nd Class, Emily Steinway.
Would you like to say anything? It's not required. Go ahead.
I would just like to really thank this university for the opportunity. When I first got out of the service, I couldn't find my purpose again, and joining the Daniels Center, it's really giving me a purpose. So I really appreciate every opportunity I've gotten here.
We'd like to thank you for your service. I want to get my picture taken with General Huber. Can we do that?
Certainly.
Can you get a long distance from me?
Absolutely.
And Mr. President, she'll obtain her master's degree from this incredible university next year.
Woo. This time, I'd like to ask Secretary Zimmerman to call the roll.
Trustee Adams.
Here.
Trustee Baker.
Here.
Trustee DeLay.
Here.
Trustee Freeman.
Here.
Trustee Jacobs.
Here.
Trustee Johnston.
Here.
Trustee Carbowiak. Here. Trustee Smith.
Here.
Trustee Weaver.
Here.
Trustee Wright.
Here.
We have a quorum, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I'm Steve Smith. I'm privileged to be your chairman. I'd like to welcome everybody that's taken the time to be here today. This is our 6th meeting, and we're just now really getting started. So I know everyone here is excited about it, as the president and I are. To start off, Mr. President, do you have some opening remarks?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, just very brief remarks. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Miller Education Center, a beautiful facility that we were able to acquire as a result of a very generous gift from one of our alumnus, Woody Miller. I hope you get to see the rest of this facility. It is absolutely outstanding. I want to join the chairman in extending a warm welcome to all of you. We have some special guests I'd like to recognize that are with us today. We have one of the great supporters of our university and alumnus, Senator Bill Ketron. Senator. And later on in this meeting, I'll be making a very significant announcement. And to join me in with that announcement, we have Jimmy Davis, Ricky Davis, and Judith Bells from Siemens. Would you all stand? Let's thank you for your. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. President. Now's the time to approve our minutes of the past meeting.
So moved.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any comments, corrections, questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. Our next is the committee work of Chairman Pam Wright, who university is really lucky to have somebody with Pam's knowledge and passion to chair this committee. And Pam, take us through your committee meeting.
Thank you, Chairman Smith. The Academic Affairs, Student Life, and Athletics Committee met on May 30, 2018. Our meeting began with approval of the minutes from the February 27, 2018 committee meeting. There were 2 informational items on our agenda. First, Provost Mark Burns shared 2 new programs, a Bachelor of Arts and a Master of Arts in Art Therapy, that are currently under consideration. So pending the results of these feasibility studies, the university may submit letters of notification to THEC. The second informational item was a report of application and enrollment activity by Vice President Deb Sales. For the first time since 2011, freshman applications have exceeded 10,000. Registration for orientation sessions for freshmen are up 10%, and for transfer students, up 3%. Already, 770 students have accepted their guaranteed freshman scholarships as compared to 700 freshmen at this time last year. New undergraduate enrollment is up 5.6% from last year, and transfers are up 6.49%. Undergraduate returnees are currently down by 3%. And graduate enrollment is still slightly down. However, graduate students tend to enroll closer to the fall semester. So Dr. Sells concluded by saying that it is still early. However, it looks like that fall enrollment will remain stable and be even slightly up, possibly. So finally, the one action item before the committee was the recommendation of tenure for 29 faculty members and the promotions of 40 faculty members. The committee unanimously approved the recommendations. So, Mr. Chairman and trustees, materials were sent to you prior to the meeting, available for your review, and that concludes my report. So thank you.
Fantastic, and thank you. Do I hear a motion that approves the actions of the committee?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any further questions, comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. The next is Committee on Finance and Personnel, chaired by the Honorable Joey Jacobs. Take over.
Thank you, Chairman Smith. The Academics Affairs, Student Life, and sorry, that's not me.
That's it. Finance.
Oh, Finance, sorry. I wanted to take over Pam's.
You can't have Pam's job.
You'll have to fight me for
Welcome,
it.
The pay is the same, Joey.
what now?
The pay is the same.
Yes, it is, $28 and something. Thank you, Chairman Smith. The Finance and Personnel Committee met on May 30th, 2018. The first item on the agenda was the approval of the minutes from the February 27th, 2018 Finance and Personnel Committee meetings. There were several other actions to be considered, which included Mr. Alan Thomas, Vice President for Business and Finance, explained the need for MTSU policies to reflect the new processes and procedures required with the forthcoming July 1st severance of MTSU from the Tennessee Board of Regents in the areas of procurement and capital management. The recommendation for the fiscal year 2019-20 capital outlay project submittal was presented by Mr. Bill Waits, Interim Director of Campus Planning. The proposed capital outlay projects for fiscal year 2019-20 is a new facility to house the School of Concrete and Construction Management. Next, Mr. Joe Whitfield, Assistant Vice President for Facilities, shared a summary of capital maintenance potential project requests for 5 years, fiscal year 2019 through 20, and all the way through 2023-24, and capital maintenance requests for 5 projects for fiscal year 2019-20, totaling $8.1 million. Vice President Thomas provided recommendations to the committee for 2018-19 tuition, fees, and housing rates. The university is proposing a 2.84% increase in the state maintenance fee and out-of-state tuition for both undergraduate and graduate students. The combined increase for the in-state maintenance fee and mandatory fees is 2.88%. It should be noted that the proposed increases complies with THEC's binding range of 0 to 3%. Mr. Thomas also presented the 2017-18 estimated budget and the 2018-19 proposed budget for consideration. The next item was recommended revisions to the university's compensation plan, which included approval for the human resources to recommend a 6% salary increase or the minimum of the new pay range for an employee whose position has been reclassified to a higher pay grade. For an employees whose positions are reclassified more than one pay range, the recommended increase in their salary would be 9%. And approval for the human resources to award the greater of 6% of current salary or a salary based on relevant experience up to the midpoint for current employees who are selected for another position on campus. These revisions would be effective July 1st, 2018. And the last action item was a recommendation for allocating the $6.1 million salary pool as follows. A cost of living allowance of 1.5% or $500, whichever is greater for regular employees, both full-time and part-time, on the payroll as of June 30th, 2018, effective July 1, 2018. The estimated cost of this salary increase is $2.4 million, including benefits. And to allocate the remaining $1.7 million from the state mandated salary pool, along with an additional $2 million for market adjustments and related benefits based on the university's compensation plan for employees on the payroll as of June 30th, 2018, effective October 1, 2018. I'm pleased to report that the Finance and Personnel Committee unanimously approved all action items presented. Materials outlining these actions were made available for review prior to this meeting and are included in the board notebooks. Mr. Chairman and fellow trustees, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Chairman. Do I have a motion to approve the actions of the Finance Committee?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any questions, comments, clarifications? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous as well. On the next is the Audit Committee. It gets paid the highest, Audit Committee normally gets the highest retainer, right?
$28.27.
And allow me to comment, Chris Kabowiak could be chairman of an audit committee for any company in the United States, and we just happen to have her on our committee. But I'm privileged that she's head of the audit committee, and it's your turn.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very kindly for those very generous words. Very much appreciated. Again, thank you, Chairman Smith. The Audit and Compliance Committee met on May 30, 2018. The first item on our agenda was approval of the committee's minutes from November 29, 2017, and March 13, 2018. Informational items that were shared with the committee included a summary report of the 2017 Conflict of Interest disclosures reviewed and the conclusions made by the correspondence from the MTSU Conflict of Interest Committee to President McPhee with a summary of the type of conflict of interest disclosures for 2017. These materials were presented to the committee. No conflicts were identified as violations of federal or state law. Auditor Ms. Brenda Burkhart, Chief Audit Executive, also shared a quarterly status report of the internal audit plan. The only action item presented to the committee was the revised Policy 100, Use of Campus Property and Facilities Scheduling. The committee approved the policy unanimously. The public meeting of the committee adjourned, and the committee went into executive session to discuss audits and investigations. Materials from the public session outlining these agenda items were made available for review and are included in the board notebook. Mr. Chairman and fellow trustees, that concludes my report.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That'd be unanimous as well. Next is the spot on our agenda. If, Madam Secretary, do you have a report?
Yes, sir, I do. Behind tab 6 is a list of minor revisions made to policies. You'll see that due to a name change of 2 policies, references to those policies within 13 others were updated to reflect the new titles. And then the last change is the request to serve alcohol on campus form was revised to change the reference from Tennessee Board of Regents to MTSU.
Do I have a motion to accept those?
So
moved.
Second.
There you go. Any comments or question, revision? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, Heidi. Mr. President, now's the time for your report.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I always appreciate this opportunity to provide an update on the activities of the university during these meetings. Let me first report to you that we ended the spring semester with a record 2,641 graduates at our commencement ceremonies in May. I might add that we had 2 outstanding speakers, Lieutenant General Robert Caseland, Jr., Superintendent of the U.S. Military Academy, West Point, and our very own Chairman Steve Smith. Regarding the summer activities, I want to remind you that just because we are now officially between semesters does not mean that our campus is dormant. From May through August, we will have 10 freshmen and 8 transfer student orientation sessions for approximately 4,000 students and more than 5,000 family members on our campus. We host a variety of athletic and academic campus events and activities for young students throughout school age. In the area of recruiting, we have regularly scheduled campus tours Monday through Friday and additional special tours at the request of prospective students and their families in schools. We have nearly 800 students signed up for special tours already this summer and expect to surpass last year's tour numbers and approach 2,000 students and family members touring our beautiful campus. The Tennessee Governors School of the Arts is celebrating its 33rd year at our campus, at our university, with this year's program that is running for 3 weeks from June 1 through June 23rd. The 327 students reside on campus and study under a faculty assembled from across the country, ladies and gentlemen, one of 5 areas: visual arts, dance, film, music, and theater. The program culminates with a finale, art exhibition, and performances on June 22nd and 23rd. It is absolutely incredible to see the talent that we draw on this campus for that particular program. Very competitive to get in. We also are hosting about 125 cadets from the Tennessee Wing of Civil Air Patrol this week for the annual cadet training encampment. I hear them right outside of Cope every morning. This is the 3rd year that we have hosted cadets from the U.S. Air Force Auxiliary for this week-long event. The cadets will spend time in our aerospace department and with the Army ROTC detachment, and General Huber spoke to the cadets Monday about leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to report, members of the board, that my ongoing efforts to keep you informed about Forest Hall. As you know, early this spring, the Tennessee Historical Commission denied our petition to rename Forest Hall. And during a conference call with the Tennessee Attorney General, Heidi and I, he explained to us that a conflict could exist if that office represented 2 state entities on opposing sides of a lawsuit. Therefore, if we were to appeal, we would be required to hire outside legal counsel at our expense. And after extended deliberation with key stakeholders, I have decided not to appeal that decision. I continue, and I want to stress this, I continue to believe that the renaming of Forest Hall is the right thing to do. However, the cost of an appeal would be significant, and there's a real possibility that we would not be successful. So given these circumstances, I believe the money we would pay to retain outside counsel should instead be used toward our mission, our primary mission of supporting student success, resulting in degree completion. Despite the fact that the name of Forest Hall will remain, our efforts to ensure MTSU remain as an inclusive place where all students and staff feel welcome will continue unabated. I also want to inform members of the board that Dr. Sam Ingram has decided to retire, former president of this university, from his duties as President Emeritus, effective June 30th, 2018. Dr. Ingram provided great leadership as president of MTSU from 1979 to 1990. In his role as President Emeritus, Dr. Ingram provided legislative insight to me as my advisor, helped forge relationship at community colleges. Finally, Mr. Chairman, as part of my report today and for the next several meetings, in an effort to keep the board informed and engaged with the academic side of the campus, I want to use this opportunity to provide you with a very brief overview of each college. We've had 2 already, and today we have the illustrious Dr. John Weil, Dean of the University Honors College. He will give us a quick glimpse of the exciting things going on in his college. And as he comes, Dr. Weil earned his BA degree from the College of William and Mary and his PhD from the University of Virginia. And prior to coming to MTSU, he taught at McNeese State University in Lake Charles, where he also served as head of the Department of Social Sciences. He came to MTSU as chair of the Department of Political Science and has been dean, has done a fabulous job of our University Honors College since 2008. Dr. Weil has written, listen to this, ladies and gentlemen, 19 books, edited and co-edited 14, contributed to 33 books, and authored numerous articles and reviews. His areas of expertise include Constitutional Convention of 1787, the constitutional amending process, the U.S. Constitution and its interpretation, and the American flags, about which he's currently completing an encyclopedia. He has received both the MTSU Foundation Outstanding Research Award and the MTSU Outstanding Career Achievement Award. And he is frequently consulted by local media and makes presentation to local civics group. And he's done, as I said, an incredible job at our university, and we are very proud to have him as part of our faculty and administrators.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. The presentation today, I'm going to do sort of 2 things. One is just to give you sort of a general introduction to the Honors College and what it does. And then we're going to brag a little bit, not so much about ourselves, but our students and their achievements, some of which you probably already read about. Let's start with our building. I always like to start there. Our first graduate, Paul Martin, and his brother Lee, contributed $2 million shortly before, I believe, Dr. McPhee became president. And that money was matched to construct this building, and I know that at least one board member, I know we had a major contribution from Bridgestone Firestone for this, and I know there may be some others that I don't know all the names of people that contributed. But the result is a very nice building, which is now directly across from the new Student Union building. And you'd be surprised at how many students come in and comment on this, and particularly if they've been to other colleges where it's very frequently to have honors in a single old house somewhere or sort of in the basement. But it's really highlighted here, and we appreciate that. What we aim for in the Honors College is to provide the equivalent of a small liberal arts environment or sort of an Ivy League experience with all the benefits that we have as a major comprehensive university. Unlike some, students know when they get here if they're eligible. If they come from high school with a 3.5 GPA and a 25 or higher on the ACT, they're in the Honors College if they want to be. We don't draft anybody, but if they want to be there, they may. And if, as in my case, when I applied to college and they don't get in honors as a freshman, they can join as soon as they have a 3.25 GPA at the college level or above. So we have a front door and we have a side door, and both get used very well. They need to maintain a 3.25 in order to remain in the Honors College. Okay. Yes, so what are the advantages of an Honors College? Basically, we take our top professors, our best students, put them in small classes. Classes aren't necessarily harder, but they're almost always more interactive, focus on higher order thinking skills. And I see someone shaking her head here, and I appreciate that. Again, no special application is required to join if they meet the qualifications. Now, we have about 850 students in the Honors College, and I want to talk about all of them. But anytime I have a group of people that may have children or grandchildren or nieces or nephews, I like to tell them about 2 signature programs that we have, which I need your help in telling other people about. I have a local judge, Don Ash, that many of you probably know, who regularly brings a niece or a nephew or a grandson, granddaughter, whatever it is, by the Honors College to tell them about it. And you've probably all heard of the Buchanan Fellowship. As you would guess, it's named after Dr. James Buchanan, who was a Nobel Prize winner, very devoted to this institution. He left us the majority of his estate, and we were competing against George Mason and Virginia Tech and University of Virginia and a lot of other places, and we got the money, and we're very grateful for it. But every year we take 20 of our top students and give them full tuition and fees for 4 years, plus a book allowance, plus extra money if they want to do study abroad or go to conventions or engage in scholarly activities. This year we had 276 applicants for 20 spaces. Every year it becomes a little bit more competitive. I can remember 10 years ago when I got here, I was talking to the former dean, and and I cannot remember whether it was a 34 or 35. The highest you can get on the ACT is a 36, but he was telling me, I believe it was that we had once had someone with a 35 apply, but they had decided to go elsewhere. This year we have already 136 that's been accepted, 2 35s, and I would say probably the median is a 34. You'll see their average score this year is a 33.6 out of 36. The average GPA is a 3.953. So just an extraordinary group of students. We have something else I want to talk about, and I want to give special credit here to Dr. McPhee, because this is something that we've done specifically in response to the Tennessee Promise. Even before, I believe, that went into effect, we had gotten the idea that some of our better students, some of our very good students, often come in as transfers. So we had created what we call the Honors Transfer Fellowship for 15 incoming students. And when Tennessee Promise was enacted, we waited for the second year when they would be coming here, and we doubled that number to 30. Now, we don't get as many applicants there, and I can't brag on their ACT scores because we don't use them. I have been told that the best indicator of success in college is success in college. So if they have a 3.5 GPA, we invite them to apply. We had 76 applicants this year, and again, we got their their overall GPA is a 3.88. If you have friends or relatives or neighbors that might be interested in the Buchanan, their deadline to apply, like other scholarships at MTSU, is December 1st. The deadline for transfers is a little bit later in the year than that. So, state of the Honors College, I believe, is pretty good. We've had a just over 20% increase in enrollment since 1914. Okay, telling my age here. Okay, a little bit more since actually the program wasn't started till 1973. So this is what I get for studying founding fathers. Is I always get my dates wrong. You know, I sometimes play James Madison, and there was one occasion where somebody asked me to sign my name, and I signed as 1787 afterward instead of the current date, so which I guess was more appropriate. But in any event, our enrollments look good. Probably the biggest bragging points that we have are two of them there that are sort of squeezed in. One is the number of theses, and I'm going to show you in just a little bit a chart that will explain the upward trajectory that we have of the number of undergraduate thesis writers. And then secondly, the number of applications that are processed through our undergraduate fellowship office. Laura Clifford, one of our employees, works full-time, pretty much guiding students into that. And while I remember, I need to thank Judy O'Backery, who helped me with this report, and I also have Dr. Philip Phillips, who's our Associate Dean, here with me today. So I want to thank both of them for coming. So, and also minority enrollment. President just mentioned the need for being inclusive, and you don't have to worry. These students have the same qualifications as everybody else, and for reasons that I can't quite, I mean, we do a lot of recruiting and everybody is welcome, but some of the minority students seem to be taking better advantage of the honors program. than some of our majorities. So we're really proud of that. In the packet that I've left you, which includes this little presentation, we have our last news magazine. I don't know if you get all of the news magazines or not, but in our next one, if you'll look for it, our cover story is going to be about the number of minority students that we have enrolled. This is a chart showing thesis increases, and understand these are undergraduate students. These are people in their junior and senior years, and yes, they're probably not equivalent to most master's or most PhD dissertations, but I'm going to tell you about a few in a little bit, and many of them certainly are very important. There's one thing that always worries me about this chart. I became dean in 2008, and for some reason the number of theses dropped from 26 to 17. I've never quite lived that down, but we've tried to make up for it, and as you'll see, this last year we had a high of 81, and it looks like we're in line to have a similar number for next year. Thesis topics, I'm not going to hazard trying to pronounce all of these, particularly the ones in science. I'm going to show you two slides, though, and the reason I'm showing you two, and again, I'm not going to read all this to you, but I'm showing you two to indicate that we have students from every college at the university who are enrolled in honors and who are completing honors. Let me tell you just about a couple of the theses this year. The traditional thesis is pretty much, you know, the expected research. We also have something known as a creative thesis, which always will have a written component in it. But sometimes students spread their wings a little bit, and I want to tell you about just a couple of them. And let's see if I can get this to work. I can. Okay. This first one, Into the White Cold Again. This was a 300-page novel that was written about an Antarctic expedition in 1919 that focused a woman as the heroine. It's a very fine book, or going to be a book, I hope. Then if skip down to the bottom here a minute, Emmanuel. Now some of you know that I preach on the side, but I was a little skeptical. I was in this thesis and I said, okay, you want to do a novel about the life of Christ. I know how it ends. How are you going to make it interesting? And what she did, very clever. She took some people that are not particularly well developed in the Bible, people like Nicodemus, Mary Magdalene, Pilate, and Peter, and some others that are a little bit more familiar, and then she sort of toggled back and forth with stories of each one. And it really is a very powerful story. And then if you want one that's something of a tearjerker, maybe my favorite, it's this one right here called Love Makes the Family, a collection of adoption stories. It's by one of our rising seniors whose parents were unable to conceive and decided that they would adopt. And they have 5 children. 2, if I recall, were adopted from either China or Taiwan. I do not remember which. 1 or 2 were adopted at birth. A couple were adopted somewhat later. And so she has 5 different people in the family. And she, almost in the form of a novel, alternates between stories of the parents and their experience and each of these children. And, you know, I have a daughter who's adopted 2 children. And it's very, very helpful because, you know, when people describe adoption often either as, you know, the best thing that could ever happen to them or as, you know, so tragic it didn't work out very well. And she shows the middle. She takes each of these family members, and some adoption is really major to their lives and the others don't even want to talk about it. But she weaves their stories together in what I think could ultimately be a great book for use by adoption agencies. And again, a lot of other traditional theses as well. We have several signature programs and honors, 3 of which we'll mention here. Dr. Phillips actually leads a trip that we do about every other year to Italy. This January, he also led a trip to Thailand, up there in the top left-hand corner. And I began a trip last spring ago, and we'll do it again next spring, to historic sites in Virginia and Washington, D.C. Great participation in all of those programs. Now let's talk a little bit about award winners. University gives a lot of awards every year. I think we just about, but remember, when I say honor students got these awards, every honor student is a member of another college. So we're not just bragging about ourselves, we're bragging about people throughout the university. And many of these have great stories. Kirsten is a single mother. Robert Owen on the end there is, he's one of our honors transfer fellows. He's been out of college for probably 10 or 12 years. In fact, he's pretty much a full-time preacher. Decided to come back and major in biology. And frankly, we were a little concerned. He didn't have a very strong record of science courses in his background. He started early that summer. He now has a perfect 4.0 and has won this and any number of other awards. The Harold Love Award that he won is actually a statewide award rather than a university award. And then let's talk about some of our other students. I've already mentioned Kirsten. Kirsten is, again, a single mother. She's a transfer student, but not one of our honors transfer. Is that right, Judy? Correct, okay. She is a winner for the last 8 years. One or more students at MTSU has gotten either an honorable mention or an actual Goldwater Award, which is a top award that is given every year to undergraduate science students in the United States. She got that award last year and she has an award this summer to attend the Scripps Institute in California, which apparently is like the top 2 or 3 within the field. Tandra, some of you remember from a few years back, Tandra did it all. She was our first Rhodes finalist. She went on to study in Morocco for a year. She got a Fulbright to South Africa, and she's now working in the State Department of Education. Destiny is our first Udall scholarship. Udall is given for people that are interested either in environmental studies or Native American studies, and she's interested primarily in the former of those. And then great news with Fulbright, and the president told me, I'm so used to saying we got 3 Fulbrights and not telling people what they are. But for the last, probably dating back to the Cold War, the United States created a program where U.S. scholars, and in this case, recent graduates, would go abroad and either study or teach for a year. Government pays all their expenses. And this year we had 3 students, and you'll see, I guess they're all in different, they're all in different continents. 2 of them took it, and the third, and I can't blame him, he got a 2-year instead of a 1-year. He got a 2-year appointment with the Peace Corps that he had already taken, and so he is going to be doing the Peace Corps for the next 2 years. And then on top, right, this is a list, and again, it's in your packet, so I'm not going to bore you by reading it, but you'll see these are the 16 or so that we've had in the last several years who have gotten Fulbright Awards. And then this is something new, too. For years and years, there's a program that's only available to college between their freshman and sophomore years. And we've been applying almost every year, never gotten one. It's a summer Fulbright program in Britain. And this year, not only did we get 1, but we got 2. And they only give like 60 in the whole United States. So it's a pretty big deal, and we're really excited about them. And then just sort of to complete the picture, I think the last time we looked, about 70% of our students go directly into graduate or professional schools. I'm finding students are increasingly taking a gap year. I don't know if we're wearing them out before they get there and they need a break or whatever it is. But, you know, we're sending students into the work world. You'll see Hannah there on the bottom, who's going to work as a nurse. Our Abuna there at the top got what is known as an REU, a research experience for undergraduates at Texas A&M last summer. And they invited him to apply, and he has a full ride there at Texas A&M. And then Kelly Richardson, political science student, full ride, came in as a son of one of the faculty members at MTSU. He finished our program in 3 years, and again has a full ride in finance at Florida State University. This is a picture of our board. I always love this picture for 2 reasons. One, One, you'll see my up-and-coming little board member, Rayco Henderson, one of our early graduates, is homeschooling 4 children, and she brought him, and I think he looks like he's a pretty good part there of our board. And then some of you may remember from prior years, you may remember Taylor Barnes. We had an article about him in one of our most recent newsletters. He came to us at age 13, if I recall correctly. He had finished 2 years of community college, finished up here, got our first Goldwater winner, got a number of other awards, went on to get a PhD at Caltech, spent a year at Berkeley, and got an award that the description of it was about 2 pages, and all that I could decipher from it was that it had something to do with chemistry and supercomputing. But in any event, his mother is on our board, but he came to speak to us this last week. And then I want to tell you, I want to just make a general comment about honor students, and maybe about college students in general. And you know this, or you wouldn't be on our board. But, you know, there's always, and it's never our children or grandchildren, right? But it's always somebody else's kids that are a little spoiled, a little ungrateful, sort of happy-go-lucky. They're not really applying themselves. I want you to know that this is not the typical, I don't think it's a typical MTSU student, but I know that it is not the typical honor student. And I could think of no better example than this. You know, we give, in addition to the awards for incoming students, we also give awards every year for, you know, outstanding freshman and sophomore, and then there's some named awards. And one of them is a little special to me, actually. I actually had this gentleman on the right there, Michael Martinelli, was a student in my classes many, many years ago, died fairly tragically in a car accident, and his parents created this scholarship for him. So we awarded this scholarship this year. And I don't know if I've told her I'm putting this up there or not, but she did share it with me, or maybe the mother did. But in any event, you know, when she found out she had this Martinelli scholarship, she came by and said, well, you know, who is Michael Martinelli? And so we sort of told her the story. We had a little picture of him there. And this is what she did. I mean, this, by the way, this is not an art student. This is someone who's going to be working on a PhD in physics. But she sat down, drew a little sketch, sent it to his mother with this thank you. And that, you know, that's a little more above and beyond than the typical student does, but it really is typical of the kind of students that we have. And on their behalf, I want to thank you for your support. I want to let you know that our students really do appreciate it. They're not sitting on their dust. They are working to make something of themselves. And I'm confident that like Paul Martin and some of the others, that in time they're going to be giving back to their institution.
Right. Thank you, Dean. Hope you all are proud, as we are, with our students and the tremendous work that's being done in our Honors College and throughout the university. Now, ladies and gentlemen, finally, Mr. Chairman, member of the board, I have an exciting announcement to make. Historically, I'm pleased to report to this board that Siemens Industry has awarded a significant academic gift grant to this university, the largest in the history of our university. A total in-kind gift value of $278 million to our mechatronics engineering program. Let me repeat that again. There's not a decimal point here. $278 million to our academic program in mechatronics engineering. This will provide students in our engineering technology and mechatronics program with the most advanced software for computer-aided design, modeling, and system simulation. This powerful technology will allow students to design and simulate operation of robots, an entire system of robots in operation. And we have today with us individuals who've been very instrumental. We've been pursuing this for a number of years, and a number of our faculty and staff and our supporters have been with us as we pursue this grant. It is one of the top in the country. I again want to recognize Senator Ketron, who was instrumental, and Jimmy Davis. But we have here today a Siemens executive, most importantly, an alumna of this university. She's a graduate of this university who has been behind this project and has made this possible from the corporate office in Germany. So I'd like to ask Ms. Judith Bells, with permission, Mr. Chair, to come and make some remarks about this extraordinary, significant, historic grant to MTSU. Judith?
Thank you very much. Whoops, oh my goodness. That's what I get for being vertically challenged. As Dr. McPhee said, I am a graduate when the pterodactyls were flying. But I am so honored and so proud to be here to talk to you a little bit about this award. As Dr. McPhee said, this is an in-kind award, and it basically is of software. And it's very robust and very futuristic. And I'll just share a little bit about Siemens and the software, and you know, where we would like to see the university maybe take some other things. Siemens is a global leader in the digital controls world, partnering with all types of companies and education to embrace the coming Internet of Things. And I'm sure you all have heard that terminology. Well, the world is just going crazy with digital controls. And that's the coming age. So our children, and especially our grandchildren, will, if they're not already computer savvy, as I'm sure many of you see cell phones just going all the time, they will be. And they need to embrace, we all need to embrace this technology. So Siemens is the 5th largest company in the world. We have many, many divisions, one of which is our digital factory. And the Digital Factory division helps thousands of companies make great products by optimizing lifecycle processes. And that's from the design, planning, and development all the way through manufacturing, support, and disposal. The software, as Dr. McPhee said, encompasses computer-aided design, computer-aided manufacturing, product data management, and all the software components of digital manufacturing. These tools are ideally suited for engineering technologies, manufacturing, and industrial design. MTSU is among a very elite group of universities to receive this award. Clemson University has received one, University of South Carolina, University of Maryland. And I'd say, knowing what I know, this is probably maybe the 4th or 5th largest grant of its kind. We also have awarded grants to global universities as well, from Bulgaria, Russia, China. So this technology has been implemented in universities on a global basis. One of the things I'd like to share is that students who participate in these programs have design contests every year based on the use of the software. And the students have either designed or redesigned such things as Swiss Army knives, guitars, lawnmowers, and especially cars in this part of the country. So we're working with MTSU as we speak in the anticipation of a major press release no later than August for this award. And I would like to just recognize Dr. Walter Bowles, who has been very instrumental in the Siemens Mechatronics program here at MTSU. It is an amazing program. I think I met with Dr. Bowles about 4 years ago when the program was in its inception. I think at that time he was hoping, just hoping, that there would be 50 students in just a few years. Well, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but there are about 400 students in that program. It is the fastest growing program in the history of MTSU. So we're just thrilled that this program is so robust. He's working with the MTSU IT group to get ready for the upcoming school year to host this software implementation. And we're anticipating faculty training to begin August the 16th for 5 to 10 faculty members and advanced students. And to give you an idea, MTSU will receive 325 seat licenses for the software. And I know many of you, are engaged in business. Maybe you've bought software. I hope you understand how expensive it can be and how ongoing implementation and updates, because you can't get too far behind in technology these days. So again, 325 seat licenses is an enormous number for this software. And just as a side note, MTSU and Siemens have been longstanding partners in building automation, and I'd like to recognize Joe Whitefield, who heads the facility department. And, we've been helping to control the heating and cooling systems here across campus for a number of years. And so with that, with the infrastructure in place, MTSU is also poised to be a leader in what we term smart buildings, which could control campus infrastructure. And Siemens has also just very recently developed a 2-year program for building automation. And it's the first of its kind. The program could become a part of the mechatronics program. It could be an adjunct to the mechatronics program because the similarities are so great between the two programs. We have a national contracting partner that we've recently spoken to who has a local presence here in the Nashville area, who is willing to aid and assist in the development of this program right here at MTSU, because they recognize a huge skills gap. And that's what these programs are all about. As I said, the skills gap in technology is just huge. I would venture to say we have probably 5,000 openings within Siemens right now that we can't fill because we don't have the skill set for these kids. So what MTSU is doing and has done is just phenomenal, and we are so very proud to be a part of this. So with all this said, Siemens is profoundly excited to partner with MTSU in this transformational moment, as Dr. McPhee likes to say, and as an MTSU graduate with family who graduated when MTSU was actually MTSC, my aunt graduated. I think there were maybe 1,500 students total in the 50s. So the recent graduating class eclipsed the entire student population that year. And my daughter also has received her BS and her MA from MTSU. So with that, I can just tell you I am true blue. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Judith. And Chris, before you leave, I just want to also add, you can stay right there, that he's not here, but one of your colleagues, retired manager of Bridgestone America Manufacturing, Keith Hamilton,
Yes,
has
absolutely.
been absolutely instrumental. He was unable to be here today because of a prior commitment, but we want to give kudos to Bridgestone.
And I'll be right back, I promise you.
All right.
Keith, if I may say,
Yes.
President McPhee, Keith lived, breathed, slept, dreamed the mechatronics program.
Sure did.
And I will tell you that it is a program that is already paying tremendous benefits. Our company is, in fact, a beneficiary of the mechatronics program because advanced manufacturing is an area that is, as has been mentioned, severely lacking in people to fill openings. So the work that's going to be done here, that is being done here, is just so tremendous and so beneficial. It really provides these young students with a way of life, and it also fills a gap that our advanced manufacturing industries really need to have filled. So thank you from our perspective, and thank you for the students that will benefit from this long term. I have to go take a call real
Yes. All right. Mr. Chairman, as I conclude my report, we have recognized the chair, and I just also want to say how much we appreciate Dr. Walter Bowles and the work he has done and the leadership. He has a class at 2:15. He needs to go teach. And so I think Judith did a great job of outlining that program. Walter, thank you for your good work.
Thank you.
That concludes my report.
That's probably your best report ever.
Yeah, I think so.
Nice job. It's bittersweet and with mixed emotions that I recognize and we recognize Lindsay Weaver for her services as a board person. She's been a full part of every committee. She asked me in the beginning when we had a personal conversation, which committees do you think I should be on? I said, all of them. Because she's been a sponge and soaked up the leadership of people like are sitting up here. So I admire Lindsay and appreciate, she's one of the most pleasant surprises that we got here at MTSU. Union University, I'm jealous, has hired Lindsay as Assistant Director of Student Leadership. And hopefully we'll get her back. We probably have to pay her a lot more.
We will. We will.
We hope to get her back, and so it's time for a new one. And thank you on behalf of the university and the board, and me personally. I've really enjoyed getting to know Lindsay, and we take and have taken her remarks with equal weight of anybody else, because she has a perspective and she was considerate and kind, but tough. So I want to thank you personally and thank you for this. And now, will you introduce our next?
Yes, sir. Let me add my thanks to Lindsay. I was able to work with her as SGA president and in many other roles, and she is the cream of the crop. So congratulations, best wishes, and we will come seeking you out very shortly. Okay? Now, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to give just a brief summary of the selection process of the nominees for student trustee as required by law. This process was managed by the Office of the Vice President for Student Affairs, Dr. Sell's office, and SGA, the Student Government Association. Applications were submitted to the Student Government Association office, and a completion of the application, once received, they were sent a confirmation email. SGA Executive Board reviewed the applications and selected applicants to be interviewed. Applicants were then notified that they had been selected for an interview, and after the interviews were conducted, 3 finalist applications were sent to my office, the Office of the President. And I personally interviewed all 3 finalists for the position of student trustee. And I am pleased to announce today that my recommendation to this board, Mr. Chairman, members of this board, it's my honor to recommend Mr. Peyton Tracy as our next student trustee. Peyton, will you please stand and come forward? Let's give him a round of applause if you can. I know Peyton has his family, I think his brothers, sisters, mothers, father. Would you all stand? I know you all are very proud of him. Brief introduction of Peyton. He served as SGA Association Senator and Representative and has been engaged in many organizations and activities on both campus and in the community. Peyton received his undergraduate degree in May, a Bachelor of Science in Organizational Communication with a minor in Business Administration. We all can learn from you. Peyton has planned to continue as graduate student here in the fall. And he is passionate, driven, and has all of the characteristics of what it means to be True Blue, and I was exceedingly impressed. We had a very strong pool, and Peyton, you became the choice for this administration. Congratulations, and we welcome you to this board.
Thank you.
Peyton, your remarks will be welcome as long as they're brief.
Okay. I told him earlier that I had about 30 minutes worth. But
Thank you for
Thank
your
you,
words.
Bud. That was awesome. Just kidding.
no, you're good. Yeah, so thank you, President McPhee and everybody on the board. This truly is an awesome opportunity. And I served in SGA with Lindsay. She was the president when I was a senator. And so I know I have big shoes to fill, and it's a great opportunity. But me and President McPhee, during our meeting, we talked about how I don't just represent the students at MTSU, but I represent the whole True Blue community. And so, I'm ready to do that. I'm ready to represent not only the students, but the faculty, administration, and everybody. And so I actually grew up in Murfreesboro. I decided MTSU, my parents both went to MTSU, they're both alumni as well. I grew up in this town, and so I love this town, I love this community, and I want to do my best for this school. And I went to Central Magnet School my freshman year in high school, and their daily mantra is always my best, and you always write it at the top of your piece of paper. And so I want to live by that through this opportunity that I've been given by President McPhee and the Student Government Association, and I'm going to always do my best. So thank you, guys.
Thank you. Lindsay, I neglected to give you a chance to make remarks. Would you like to make some?
Oh.
And you can take as long as you want.
Well, Mr. Chairman, if Peyton represents the faculty, are we going to be able to lower the amount of money that we pay to Dr. Johnson?
I think we probably will. Yes. Peyton? Not Peyton. Lindsay?
Just really quickly, I wanted to thank each and every one of you on this board and the administration. These 6 years of being a True Blue MTSU family member has been absolutely incredible. Dr. McPhee, I do hope to come back and definitely join the MTSU family again, but thank you so much for the time and energy and love that you have for this institution and for every student on this campus. The decisions that you make on this board impact the day-to-day lives of students like me, like Peyton, like many students in the audience right now and that are watching. So thank you so much for just everything that you've taught me this year and being able to be on the inaugural board of trustees for MTSU. Thank you so much to the women back there that put together these incredible meetings and making sure that we are all organized and ready to take on the committee meetings and these quarterly meetings. But again, thank you so much for the opportunity and the memories this year.
Thank you. That concludes our business for today. And Mr. President, if you'd like to have a few brief remarks.
May I interrupt, Mr. Chairman?
I'm sorry.
If the board could officially accept the recommendation of the president as to
Do I
our
have a
new
motion to
student trustees.
confirm
So
our
moved.
new? It's moved
Second.
and seconded. All in
Thank you.
favor? Aye. Unanimous. That's a close vote. Mr. President, it's your turn.
Briefly,
Finish up.
yes, Mr. Chairman, briefly, I always would like to recognize the folks behind the scene, as Lindsay said, that really make this meeting go smoothly and organized. And so for all of the staff, particularly our colleagues from media and entertainment, who do a great job in streaming and recording this, to staff in the president's office and the trustee's office, to all of you, I want to say thank you for the great job that you do in supporting the work of this board. We are very grateful, and to members of the board, thank you for your service as you continue to provide strategic direction for our university. Thank you.
We appreciate everybody attending and all the time that's been spent so that we can have a compact board meeting. So we're officially out to lunch. Adjourned.